Hello guys and girls, MMA community, my fans, my followers, my friends, my family, which is my new members and subscribers and patrons. Thank you guys for all showing me some love and joining the team. I'm very excited about all the stuff that we have ahead of us, not just today's event coming up later tonight and Saturday's card, and not only am I proud of what we've done in the last few weeks, but I'm more than anything else, I'm super stoked about having, like, I've already been like, I'm not the type to show too much enthusiasm. Like, even when you told me I won $1 million right now, I'll crack a smile at best, you know. But what excites me the most is knowing that I got a bunch of people behind me that are also going to be reaping the same benefits that I'm reaping every single week from this. I mean, I started this not for the money and anything. Like, if you notice, anybody that does something out of from their heart and from the passion that they have for whatever it is that they're doing, they always do it better than somebody who's just doing it for money or because somebody told them to do it. So there's a difference there's a big difference of when you're doing something because you enjoy it and you want to, as opposed to being forced to or for the wrong motives, you know what I mean, or incentives. In this case, I enjoy it, man. I've been, like I said, a fan. I got involved in the sport. I love it dearly. It's my passion, and not just watching, but in physical, getting into not just watching, but actually being involved with the sport from the other side of not just as a fan. So for all those reasons, it's turned beneficial to me financially, thank goodness. And now for you guys, because if all you have to do is follow my bet slips to the T, and if you're in my Patreon now, you see it as soon as I make my bet slips. You see the date and time, minutes before I posted it, or minutes after I made it. It was already posted in less than 10 minutes after I've made those tickets. You've got them already, so you're getting ahead of the line movement as quickly as I am. And I obviously, if I know who these picks are, I know the right picks immediately as soon as they come out. I mean, I obviously do some research, but for the most part, as soon as I see a fight, I already know who the winners and losers are going to be. But I do my due diligence for the sake of just having a good record and having other people's money I'm responsible for now, especially, makes me go above and beyond my ordinary. So I got to thank you guys too. Just as beneficial as I am to you guys are beneficial to me as well, because I'm doing extra work to make sure now that I have other people's money as my responsibility. Okay, Bellator card tonight. Oh man, do we got some juice on the bone tonight. Some meat on the bone tonight. These are some good fights, man. First of all, just as a fight fan, let me tell you, man, a couple of these fights I'm super excited about. Like, as a fighting fan, I can't think of a more high level. I'm trying to think, like, maybe the closest I can get to is like Dan Hooker and Dustin Poirier, and you've seen what type of a bloodbath that turned into. Like, as far even this one, I would say would be better than that fight. It may turn into a better fight than that one. I'm gonna say that Polizzi fight versus he's the underdog, by the way. Polizzi versus what's his name? Julius and Galikas. I guess he's Greek or something, but that guy is a mon. He's like Terminator. Reminds you, ever seen the movie The Terminator, where the guy keeps getting like shot by shotgun bullets and hollow points, and he just keeps walking forward? That's this guy. He's like, he even looks like the Terminator if the Terminator was on steroids. That's how big and bad. You see him at the weigh-ins, doesn't even look natural. I mean, it's not a coincidence that he happens to look like that, and he's in the Bellator where they don't do drug tests, and USADA is like banned from Bellator. Anybody who's even affiliated with USADA, they'll end up getting kicked out of the building. They won't even let you guys watch the sports, the event. But so he's fighting against a guy who, in my opinion, is naturally, you could tell this guy's been wrestling since he was a kid. He's a collegiate level wrestler, and he's got almost as impressive of a resume. I mean, if not more, in my opinion. He's the undefeated guy, and he's the underdog, by the way. So this is my underdog of the night. My value money I'm kind of debating between this one and there's another fight that I see some good value in as well. The numbers are very close, and it shouldn't be close. But as far as the value, this one is in a different sense, like, because it's going to be a close fight. It's going to be a back and forth battle, which is most of this guy's fight. If you see Polizzi's undefeated record, hasn't been a breeze. Some of them, like, has been back and forth. What was the guy's name? That guy was hurt him bad. He cut him open in the first round. He gave him some trouble in the second round, and until the fight was over, it was nowhere. It didn't look like it was going to be anywhere near over, and he was battling some adversity. We've seen what would I love when there's a guy who's got hype behind him, and he's got like an impressive undefeated record, and he's usually coming in as a heavy favorite, who we've already seen battled through adversity and has been tested, because most of the people like the Kamzats and the Adesanya, even I would consider. I mean, not that he's a hype train, he's proved himself, but we've never seen him tested on the ground. We've never, like, look what happened to Conor McGregor before one black belt jiu-jitsu specialist was able to get his hands on him on the ground. It took him 5 seconds to tap him out. So until you can see somebody proven, and this is MMA, it stands for mixed martial arts. That means you got to be capable of holding your own everywhere. You can't just be a great submission specialist and expect to win fights. You can't be a great stand-up fighter and expect to win fights. So you got to have it all around, And this guy, he's the guy that has it all around, man. He's got the ground game. He's a wrestler. He's a striker. He's got power. He knows how to, do transitions. He knows how to. I've seen as the way he throws his strikes and the way he defends from strikes. He's got the head movement. He's got the angles. He cuts angles. Everything he does is very well. So the only type of a person I can see that would be able to beat this guy and take his O away from him, because he's still undefeated. Remember, going into this fight as an underdog and undefeated. The only guy I can see taking his O from him is somebody who's got equal or just close enough to have a good wrestling level and grappling level as he is on, and also be able to outstrike him and outline him and kind of pick him apart on the feet as well. So when it comes down to him trying to, because it's like that Miles John fight recently. Everybody who counted him out, they said Natividad was going to beat him. We made some money on Johns because his wrestling was impressive, but the thing was that nullified everybody to see, his wrestling is better. We know his wrestling is better, but Natividad's a better striker. Well, the reason why that didn't make a difference, and I didn't. Is that my phone? 1 second, sorry about the interruption. The reason why it didn't make a big difference inside the ring is because every time Natividad wanted to open up some combos, anything more than a 1 or 2 punch combo, he had to open himself to being taken down. And so this guy was willing to take a hit, is because he knew after a while, you started to realize, if you're a Natividad, hey, every time I'm giving this guy a combo more than a 1 or 2 punch, he's grabbing me, he's getting me by a single or a double leg, and he's taking me to the ground, and then his ground and pound and his strikes on there are multiplying over my strikes. So he's beating me in the strikes, he's beating me in the control time, and it was a mismatch, just like I expected it to be. It's kind of the same thing that happens with Khabib, the Khabib syndrome, where everybody, he made the best strikers, like Conor McGregor, look like terrible strikers, because the threat of being taken down, the threat of being submitted when you're on the ground, that messes with the guy's psyche when he's in there. He's not thinking about his offense as much as his defense, and that nullifies and makes the other guy's offense, who's usually not as good on the feet, even better than his that night. So now he's got the advantage both places. And that's where you got to be an all-around fighter, not afraid of being taken down, like with Justin Gaethje. He was terrified. His whole game plan was don't be taken down. He couldn't even think about the offense. He was so worried about the defense, and that's why he got taken out so quickly. Anyway, so this guy's my pick of the day. I don't want to get too mega. The fighter inside me, the guy who's trainer and a fighter, who wants to talk about the fighting aspect behind every single one of these fights, and I could go on for days about it. And that's what makes me a little different than the rest of these people doing these predictions, because I could dissect it to every single move. From if this guy doesn't throw his punches right, I can tell you, go ahead, put a live bet on it. The guy's gonna end up predicting what he's gonna do, and he's ended up doing this and that. If you ever guys want to join me in a companion, we're going to make a killing on live betting on companions. Like, I see people who are losing fights that I would bet, like when they turn into like plus 600 underdogs, is when I usually lay my chalk down, because I know, for example, the Grishin and the Ayatagulov fight, you lost the entire first round. There's so many fights where you got to take advantage of line movement when you know that there's a fighter who typically starts off slowly, or you see him taking punishment for a reason. Like, perfect example, I think I mentioned this last time, Muhammad Ali versus Foreman. Muhammad Ali's game plan was, let this guy beat me up for 12 rounds, so on the 11th, 12th round, he's so worn out, I'm going to drop him with 1 or 2 punches, and he did. You know, the Rumble in the Jungle was a classic, in hundreds and hundreds of years from now, they'll still be talking about that fight. So, you know, that's what makes people special, is when they're now, you know, they're willing to do things differently. Anyway, so let's go, the common eye, the natural, somebody from just the perspective of a casual fan or somebody who never fought before, they won't be able to see it the way we would see it, you know. Anyway, so that's the first fight of the night. I want to get into a little bit more than the other fights. The other fights, I promise I won't take up too much of your time about. I'll just go through winners and losers, who to bet on, who not to bet on, and that type of stuff, okay? So underdog of the night, I'm going with Polizzi. He's a slight underdog, not a huge underdog, but anytime you know that there's a guy who should be winning the fight, paying at those odds where you bet 100 and win more than 100 and your money back, what, you know, how can we be complaining about that, right? All right, let's see what's the next fight I can get into, and this is not in any order. Sorry for this was a last minute thing. I don't usually do this, and I was going to only do it for my members only. This is the week that everybody can see it. After this week, it'll be only for my members, unless it's UFC related. I intend on only giving the additional stuff to my ultimate members. And you've seen how UFC's Dana White Contender Series went for us last night. We went 4 out of 4 in picks. We even got the prop bet right that I gave you guys as a free play. Anyways, here we go. The next fight, let's just go down the list. Corey, we'll start with the bottom to the top. Jalen Bates versus Joe Supino. Man, Jalen Bates, I mean, there's a reason why I think he is actually, the biggest favorite of the night. This guy has a, you know, not the most impressive. Can you pull up on SureDog Jalen Bates' record? He's fighting against Joe Supino, please. He's the biggest favorite for a reason, not just because he's skilled. This guy is skilled. He's got excellent takedown. He's so fast like lightning. If you blink, he would have already hit somebody with a 4-piece combo, and you wouldn't have even known it. Yeah, because this guy is green. I mean, I don't even know if he has a professional record, really, that can be used right now. He's all, like, lower level. But I've seen his tapes. I've studied even the people with no records. They got 0-0 records coming into Bellator. I've seen, if they have a fight, I've seen it.
He has
so,
one amateur fight.
One amateur fight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I've seen more than one of his fights. Okay, anyways, this guy with only one amateur fight is coming in as a minus 650 favorite, the biggest favorite of the night, bigger favorite than the guys who have won belts and been contenders in the top 5, been in the UFC, like the Andersons of the card, and Tyrell Fortune, and Derek Anderson, and Corey Anderson, and he's a bigger favorite than those guys. And this is his first fight, and that's because he's skilled everywhere, man, everywhere. He's super fast. He's very long for the division. He's going to have a huge reach advantage. And the guy he's fighting against, I think this is another testament to why he's a big favorite, is because the guy he's fighting against, man, not to say anything, like I said, if your mom taught you don't say anything, if you can't say anything good about somebody, don't say anything. Well, let's just not say anything about his opponent, okay? His opponent's nothing to, you know, go home and brag about. And he's just very basic average. He's actually even chinny from the very small footage that they have out there for him. I've seen him get dropped by very low-level competition. He's not fast, not strong, not skilled. You should walk through this guy easily. Unless I don't even see a puncher's. I usually give somebody a punching chance. I don't even see that possible in this fight. So that's why he's a heavy favorite. You can parlay Jalen Bates on every single bet and every parlay that you can think of. So I don't see any possibilities of anything going wrong there. And so you can still win. If you have a lot of money and you like to just mess around with it, you can put a lot of money on them as a single bet as well and make $1,000 tonight just off of that one bet. Why not? If you have the money to back it up, you got my blessings. Next fight, Ali Zaban and Plakini Zimmerman. Now, you won't see me. This is the first time I'm doing this. Maybe probably will be the last time I'm going to ever do it. I don't do this very often. I'm going to tell you guys, lay off this one. I wouldn't even say dog or pass. This is just one of those fights that both of these guys are coming off of a loss. Both of them have been knocked out. But the guy who's the favorite here, that guy who should win, my fellow Arab. His nickname's the Arab. You know, us Arabs are built from steel. We don't break easily, but the guy doesn't have to be broken to be beat here. The guy who is also coming off of a loss has a 9-inch reach advantage over this guy. He's coming in at 6'2", and his opponent, the Arab, is 5'5". Why they're even in the same ring together and who these matchmakers are that put them together, I don't know. But even in the weigh-ins and face-offs, it didn't even look right. I just don't feel comfortable putting money on somebody at that big of a price tag. What is he? Minus 450. So you got to put $450 to win $100. No, thank you. Not at that big of a disadvantage on a guy who's coming off of a loss. No, thanks. Or even 2 losses, I think. So I'll pass on this one. I don't even think dog or pass would work on this one because the guy he's fighting has fought nobody worth anything to brag about. He doesn't have. I think he's even got more losses than wins, and he's fought low-level competition. So both of them, just pass on them. Never. These are guys that if you've given me anybody who's half decent skilled, I would fade these two all day long. Anyways, so we're passing on that one. Just don't put him anywhere. If you guys want to maybe put the over on this one, maybe bet the over rounds on that, you can maybe do something if it's juicy enough. Take a sprinkle, put a little bit of money on the over rounds on over 1.5 or 2.5, whatever it is. That's the only possible bet I can see on this one. All right, next one is the Janae Harding and Jesse Mieli fight. This one, I see Mieli pulling away with the victory, and I do see this one as a value play. This may be one of my best value plays of the night. I did take some notes, and the reason why I'm saying is that because, look, the girl that she's fighting against has more, if you look at her amateur record, her before she got into the pros, she got more losses than wins, I believe. And even if she did it, it was very close. Like, her record is terrible. I've seen her fighting. It's like one of her wins, if you took that one off it, I think she'd probably be losing. What's her record? Can you tell me?
5 wins, 5 losses.
5 wins and 5 losses. Now, I know one of those wins, she was losing a fight and the doctor had to stop it because of it. It was a doctor stoppage or something weird. Either way, she's never been impressive in any of her wins. And obviously, if she lost, she wasn't impressive either. So not a girl I would ever be confident in even putting, just the long shot type of play on her because she's an underdog. But why her opponent, who is not the best out there? I mean, like, she's not a world beater, but she's won grappling tournaments. She's done submission tournaments. She's very skilled on the ground, more than your average women's MMA fighter. So I see not only her getting the win over here, but if it goes to the ground, this girl will submit her easily, not a problem. So I see, but I can also see, and this is what happened to me in the Lauren Murphy fight. I got greedy. It was like plus 600 for winning by finish, and it was like a plus 1,000 by submission. I didn't play the submission, and I went for the knockout parlay. But there's another prop bet you could do that just says finishes. That means it includes submission, knockouts. So I bet for Lauren Murphy to beat that new girl who made her debut a couple of weeks ago against Murphy, and Murphy won inside the distance as I bet. But because Murphy has never once had a submission win in her life. This happened to be the first one she ever did, and if she had knocked her out instead of submitting her, we would have won 7 times our money back. We would have bet 100 and won 700. And I got greedy. I could have won 5 or 6 times my money back by just placing it under being finished instead of being knocked out. So these type of things, this is one of those situations where I would recommend just maybe putting it by getting finished and not specific if it's, because I can see her like putting her in a crucifix and just grounding and pounding her or laying on top of her and getting some damage done, and ref pulling her off of her without her having to submit Janae. So I would definitely look under that, but you don't have to. Here's the thing, though. If I was you guys, don't get greedy. Greedy is not a good thing. We have a sure winner in Miel beating Janae Harding, and Janae Harding is only a slight underdog. She's not a big underdog. This is not an expensive ticket. So you bet 100, you win almost 100 just by betting her straight up. So why ruin it, right? Just better at taking the win. Maybe it goes a decision. We don't know. So taking her for the W, I got the slight favorite in this as Jesse Miel minus 140 only. Okay, next fight is Bryce Logan versus Georgi Karkanani, and Armenian, I think he is a relative of us Arabs. So I shouldn't be playing any money against somebody who's like a neighbor of ours from where we come from. But this is the fight game. We can't show any favoritism, no bias. So I got to go with my man Bryce Logan on this one, okay? Bryce Logan just better fighter, and we don't need to get into it too much. I don't think I really had much I wanted to say about this fight, so let's move on because we spent enough time on the other fights already. So fights again. I would have spent more time on all of these. Believe me, I know you guys sometimes like to hear more details so you can know how to bet it better, and that makes you more money. But unfortunately, the fights will be coming up in a few hours from now. How much time we got?
4 hours.
4 or 5 hours or so. So it's coming up soon. I don't want you guys to miss out. And I know the line movements can change on the day of. Like it's almost like the stock market, you know. Anyways, back to the fights now. We got Jessica Ruiz and Samiko Inaba. I don't understand this one, to be quite frank with you. Neither of these have an impressive record. Both of them are green. One of them has a 0-1 record, no wins, 1 loss. The other one has technically a 0-0 record in profession. She's got no wins, no losses, and she's coming in as a -600 favorite. This kind of reminds me of the Akapova and Dotson fight, where Akapova came in as a -1100 and she was never tested, and she was not battle tested. And look what happened to Dotson. She took her head off almost in the first round. She got on top of her, beat her up. A -1100 favorite, got demolished from pillar to post from the beginning to the end of the round until it was finished. A -1100, because this is women's MMA. I don't know what these odd makers, I guess because women's MMA is kind of new to the scene. They don't even know how to scale these type of fights. I think this is one of them. Look, if it wasn't for this woman's looks, she's a beautiful woman. She's a great looking, you know, she's eye candy for somebody on TV. Like there's a million other people you could have put on that are way better fighters than this. This girl, her name, how do you say it? Samiko Inaba. She's the big favorite, one of the biggest favorites of the card. If you've ever seen her fight, and Mega, she's a 0-0, so many probably haven't seen her fight. She closes her eyes and swings and hopes for the best. So but here's the thing, because she's so beautiful and she'll sell. She's like the Paige Van Zandt of Bellator, you know. And now you know Paige Van Zandt was eye candy and she wasn't the most skilled, but they put her against low-level opposition and kind of like try to pad her record and make her look good so she can get. They even let her main event a lot of cards. You'll notice, as bad as Paige Van Zandt was and unskilled, she had how many events where it was under? She was the main event. She was the one with the 5 rounds. Headlining it, so you know that's all. It has nothing to do with the level of competence, the level of skills that she possesses. Unfortunately, it's more because of her following, her rate. You know, how does she look? How much people's eyes can we get on her? And it's a marketing thing. Unfortunately, this is the type of stuff that kind of ruins the sports for somebody who's a fan like us, a hardcore fan. You know. Anyways, I don't mind looking at her, right? Neither do you, I'm sure. All right, back to that. Now that fight, this is a dog. If there's any definition of a dog or pass, it's this fight. I wouldn't really bet on this fight. I wouldn't put her in any parlays, especially at that price. What do you have to profit for a girl who's not skilled anywhere, that makes her special anywhere? You don't want to pay that type of a price tag on her, and especially because her opponent's equally. I mean, her opponent's equally as bad, I guess. Maybe even a little slightly. I think her opponent even shows a little bit of more. They're almost like the exact. If you closed your eyes and or if you like blurred your eyes and just watched them fighting from this, you would think you couldn't tell who was who. They fight almost identical, like 2 sisters fighting at each other. So you're pretty much, if you're gonna have to bet on this as a single bet, I would recommend never parlaying it. And it's a dog or pass, so you put a little bit of money on the dog. You put like what, $50? You win like $400. It's worth a shot, but don't parlay it. And I'm not saying any one of these two is better than the other. So whatever happens in this fight, it's at your own risk. I don't want to get too much more into that fight. And now, so Jessica Ruiz, I would, if you'd like, maybe sprinkle some peanuts on her and hope for the best. And next fight is Moda versus Derek Anderson. Now, Moda, he's here as only a slight. I see a little value here. He's a slight underdog only. Not too impressive. To be honest, he would not be here if it wasn't for the fluke. He fought against Nelson. What's his name? Can you give me his Nelson Mandela. What's his last opponent's name that Kiddis found? Fought? Mandel Nalo, right?
Yeah.
Mandel Nalo was winning this fight against Killis, and he got like the same thing that happened to Sean O'Malley, how he kind of like twisted something and he broke a bone or something got misplaced. Almost like the Anderson Silva kick. He did some type of a kick and he lost his O that day. He was winning a fight. He got his first loss against Killis. So Killis he was on a he was coming off of a loss. He should be on a 2-fight losing streak now. Instead, he's on a win streak or on a 1-win streak. He came up, but that guy held some rankings. He had some hype behind him. So technically, on paper, he's got a win over a guy who was undefeated, and that's why he's in this slot. But he's not impressive. He was losing that fight. He should be on a -2 losing streak right now. And other than that, what else can I say? But so. He even lost against what's that guy's name? Austin Hubbard. And Austin Hubbard, I think that's another one of those hype. Everybody was real high on him. I remember thinking all the other guys with podcasts that were saying that he's going to beat Joe Selecki. I'll show you my ticket. I put some heavy chalk on Joe Selecki because they were saying things like, oh, Hubbard winning. He fought some of the best grapplers ever because Selecki's a grappler type of submission type of guy who can actually hold his own on the feet as well, which is why he usually gets the submissions because he gets them down to the ground not by luck. Anyway, so he fought with Hubbard. I had some heavy, I can show you guys my bet slip for that day. Had him in parlays, had him on straight bets, and he killed Hubbard. Joe Selecki got him submitted. He didn't even have to go to the ground. He backpacked him, jumped on his back. Within like the first 30 seconds of the first round, he submitted Hubbard. He took him out like nobody I've ever seen him take out before because he knew this guy was going to come. He was going to be sturdy and durable. And sometimes people fight to the level of their opponent, so we don't really see what they're made of. Khabib, a perfect example. The Michael Johnson fight, when Khabib and Johnson fought, they went 3 rounds, and the entire 3rd round, Khabib was on the floor begging Johnson, give up, please, I don't want to hurt you, I don't want to hurt you. But when he knew he was going to fight against a game opponent who was way better than Michael Johnson, he took him out in the 2nd round. Because he wasn't going to sit there and try to give him a chance to weasel his way out of embarrassing loss. He gave it to him and put him to sleep. He could have done that to his other opponents. So we don't really even see what type of a level of greatness. That's why that whole argument about who's the greatest of all time, they're giving it to Khabib without even seeing what he's capable of, man. That's why I give it to them hands down. Well, this is another one of those fighters, Joe Selecki. And the whole point, we got sidetracked. I'm sorry. Killis, who just came off of a loss from Hubbard. Hubbard got lost by Selecki and made Killis look bad. So I don't even want to imagine what this guy Anderson is going to do to. He's coming in as only a slight favorite, so there's big value there. Derek Anderson is a world beater, man. I mean, I don't have enough time in this show to talk about all the good things about Derek Anderson. Man, the guy's a great all-around fighter. He's got heart, tenacious. He's got cojones to back it up. He's a great fighter. I love watching this guy's fights. So I got easy money on it. That's a great parlay piece right there, Derek Anderson. Next fight, Austin Vanderford. Speaking of Paige Van Zandt that we mentioned earlier in the show, she is his girlfriend. They date and live together. So he comes from a little fighting household where they probably like fight over the remote control and somebody's getting suplexed and armbarred and stuff. So this guy's undefeated. Very impressive. I mean, he hasn't had the best level of competition, but he's still undefeated and he's putting people away. And I think this is another one that has some value on it. Vinicius DeJesus, he's a plus 35. I guess he's a pretty big underdog, so maybe not too much value. This is a perfect parlay piece right here. He's not paying. I mean, if you got good money and you're confident, I would put some good money on him as a single bet as well, of course. But better so if you're not playing around with too much money. This is a perfect parlay piece, especially with the fight that I just broke down before him. Put them together in a parlay and you'll probably get some close to plus money on them. Anyways, next week I'll be showing you guys my bet slips. You don't have to do the thinking yourselves, because if anytime you got to think yourselves and there's too many things that you guys got to factor in that you're not. Betting in itself, it should be a sport. If you can have all the right picks, but if you don't know how to bet them, you'll end up walking away with losing money. So that's why I think I'm giving a great deal for my Patreon. If you're only paying what I'm charging right now. It's because I'm still new and I'm unestablished. I don't have the credibility yet, but eventually, when time will tell, how my track record will speak for itself. You guys will know that the value for what you're getting this Patreon at and your membership with me at is something you better take it and run with, because I did give you guys my word. I'm going to grandfather you in. So if you jump on it now, down the road when I blow up, or if I do blow up, or if you guys start to realize that this is worth more, you can always donate some extra and be courteous. You know, pay it forward. Giving is just as good as getting sometimes, because when you give, you get sometimes when you least expect it from other places. So I'm giving you guys, like, if you look at the comments, one of my members said, just off the last minute video I made yesterday about the Dana White Contender Series, he made his money back from my membership in one bet. Not even one day, one bet. He made his money back from my membership just from one of my bets. So you know that you're getting a value no matter how much. This is one of those things that's priceless. If we do it for the long run, especially, you don't have to work. This will replace the income that you, your wife, your father, your mother, your neighbor, all of your incomes put together. So anyways, you take it for what it's worth. Next fight. Corey Anderson. No, I'm sorry. I'm skipping Tyrell Fortune. Oh, what a coincidence. How convenient. We're on the guy whose name is Fortune. We're talking about making a fortune. All right, next guy. Tyrell Fortune against Name Girl. Where you at?
Saeed.
Ah, impressive. You're getting better at this. I got to give you a promotion soon. Saeed Soma. I should know that because he's Middle Eastern. It sounds like a Middle Eastern name. Saeed Soma. All right. Plus 455. So Tyrell, the comeback on Tyrell's side is 455, and he's fighting against Tyrell Fortune, who's at minus 685. That makes him the first. Yeah, that's actually the biggest favorite of the night. So we don't need to spend too much time on this one. Tyrell Fortune obviously should win this fight. He opened up as a big favorite, so some chalk came in on him. He opened up as a minus 550, so he didn't get steamrolled up there. The odd makers get paid to get it right in the first time, but they got it pretty close to where it is right now. So, you know, maybe a parlay piece, I guess you could say, but I see him winning this fight for sure. But so, you know, he's got a puncher's chance, and I don't see it being as easy as, I mean, I think that the line could be a little bit wide. They may have probably gone a little bit over valuing it over than the amount that it should be, a slight amount, and I would maybe more so say it's close, should be more of like a minus 350 at best, but whatever. A winner's a winner, right? What they want to pay us is what they want to pay us. Don't fall in love with the number. A lot of people I've noticed in other podcasts, they'll tell you there's value in a bet because he's way too wide, so you should bet for the other guy. It makes no sense. Just because they're going to pay us more money if he wins doesn't give him more of a chance of winning. Why be on the opposite? Why be on the wrong end of the odds? If the guy's got less of a do you want to flip a quarter that has three sides or two sides with the sides of heads, and you want to be the guy picking tails? I mean, it makes no sense. That's the closest analogy I can come up with. Sorry if it wasn't a good one. All right, Corey Anderson, main event fight. Corey Anderson and Melvin Manhoef. Man, I wish I could have seen this fight 5 years ago when Manhoef, you know, was a little bit more of a threat to Corey, because now Manhoef is older, man. He's 44 years old. You've seen what happened to the last 44-year-old who main evented. Uriah Hall was getting his butt whooped because he was doing nothing. He did what Lima did against Mousasi, which is run around and not doing nothing. And then as soon as he decided to just do something so he doesn't get fired and booed, he ended up knocking the guy out and realizing, oh shoot, I could have done this in the first round if I tried. That's going to be the similar type of thing I see over here. This guy's been knocked out so many times, even when he wasn't at the end of his career. So Manhoef hasn't proven himself to be very durable. He is chinny. So I can even see this being a fight that ends inside the distance. Maybe so you may want to look into that, because the numbers are not very enticing. Corey Anderson's a minus 590. That makes him the third biggest favorite of the night. So you may want to get some juice on the prop bet by going inside the distance. That's probably paying, let's see if I can find it. Oh, not bad. Minus 210 only. So that's 3 times better. You're getting 3 times more money for your bet. So if you bet $100, you'll get 3 times more money if you bet inside the distance instead of, and that's just for a fight goes into. If you bet for Corey Anderson inside the distance, you get paid even more for that. Look for the bet slips, guys. Next week, I'll only be giving this type of content to my members. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the reminders. Time is sensitive on these type of things. You want to get them as soon as they're out before the lines move. And please show me some love and hitting the likes and all that good stuff. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Any suggestions, constructive criticism. I'm not a sensitive guy. I'm open to all that type of stuff. So this is still new. I'm new to this. I'd be happy to listen to some of your advice and opinions. So it'd be greatly appreciated. Good luck on your bets. See you on the winning side.